glorious cup winner.
Testing, testing. Okay, there we go. And my... Alright. Testing, testing. There we go. We're back. Stream is so scuffed this morning, but please bear with me as we get things sorted out. We do have Jexy on the Hard Rock for Texas. Shaikra and Boro on the Hiddens against Lopez on the Hard Rock and Kyushipu and Silliant on the Hiddens. Kyushipu putting up a really good performance in the round of 32 and qualifiers on the No Mod 3s. He's really good at these kinds of alt maps. Seem struggling a little bit, however. It's actually Silliant with the biggest combo on his team's side, just matched by a small recovery on the side of Boro. So the lead should be going over to Colorado pretty quickly, especially after that break from Boro there. And Lopez on a small recovery as well. Going to be dropping it as well. Going to be dropping the ball as I say that, but Silliant still holding on with the score lead is just not going over. Looking in at the accuracies, and I think that's a double 98 for Shaikra and Boro. So despite the combo drops, the score lead is taking so long to go over. 10K finally the lead. And it will flip eventually, but my goodness, that took a while. And this lead is not stable at all. They need Silliant to keep holding on here. And they need Lopez and Kyushipu to do a little bit less struggling, especially Kyushipu there. Some really good alt performances in past rounds. Of course, No Nomad 3 played in the round of 16, as Colorado didn't even play the round of 16. That was a bye. There goes Cillian, however, and it's Lopez to drop 2, and Boral and Lasagna Girl. Shy Cryo still have these recoveries. It's still so close bouncing on the knife sets, but I think the accuracy is just barely pulling it in Texas's advantage. So despite the drops coming in continuously, I mean, Jexy's holding on to the ever so smallest of recoveries, and so despite Kyoshipu and Cillian having the combos at the end, it's just not enough. The accuracy's putting in too much work. The 98, 97, and 95 up against the 96, 95, and 85 for Lopez. That is a bit of a rough start for Colorado, barely losing that one. Just the accuracy struggling a little bit too much on it. And also, Kyoshipu finding a few too many unfortunate misses on what is one of his main strongest skill sets. Alright, but now that we are settled into things, I can go ahead and, of course, I have to fix this up again. It was a flex 1 ban, and then an easy 1 hidden 2, and then a hard rock 2. It was Force Mod 1 first pick, and now it is Texas's pick. There we go. Right, we're all set up. Refreshing the wrong source on OBS, back to map pool. This is where we are. Texas versus Colorado. Oh, we're getting into the next pick already. DT2. I haven't even gotten a chance to talk about these teams. But of course, Texas B coming down from that losers bracket after a tough loss to Virginia B in one of the worst weekends for Texas in all of 5USC history. Of course, all 3 teams losing their round of 16 matches, or ending up in the losers bracket by the end of the round of 16 for the first time ever. Now, I did also get some news that due to some scheduling difficulties between these two teams, this is a 4v4 by gentleman's agreement. Unfortunately, some players missing, so we'll have to see who it is. Who's missing for each side. It looks like it's going to be Itzy-Tommy and Andy WG for Colorado. As we saw Cillian Lopez, also known as Yearning for her, and Kyoshipu in on the last map, and we do see King CS2 in for this one. Kyoshipu wishing he had his tapping players. Of course, one of those being Itzy-Tommy. And I mean, he does have King CS2. Bit of a tapping spawn. And yeah, it does look like it's just going to be Kyoshipu and Cillian, the 2 other all-rounders in round them out. Of course, for Texas, it's Jexy. Who else but the man? One of the men who drove them to a 2nd place finish last year. As a part of their mechanics, tapping, and DT core. Accompanying him is going to be Oral. And Laren. Laren, a bit of a tapping specialist, and Oral, all-rounder, but in mostly for, for everything, basically. Tapping, aim, and reading. We are getting into things with this DT2. Just early section to almost warm up your tapping, I want to say, is nothing super long here, nothing longer than 9 notes. It will get harder as we go on. It's already Kyushibu to drop, and KCS2 as well. Fortunately, little undertaps on those bursts. Missing out on the ending slider at the end. Big 16 note is going to take out the combo of Kyushibu again, but it's also a double drop from Jexi and Laren, so it's just Boral holding on at this moment. Against the recovery of Cilliant, the reverse choke. But there it goes too. Double drop with King CS2, and there's already a big score lead in the favor of Texas going into this break. 98% on Boral's FC. It's going to be 91 and Laren on the supporting combo, so not great accuracy there. But likewise for Colorado, 94 on King CS2, but 81 on Kyushibu. And this man is trying to mash as hard as he can through this section, but this is, I fear this is already far too gone. With Boral still on the FC and some nice supporting combos, bigger on anything on the side of Colorado. That is some scary accuracy from Boral at the moment. Yeah, cleanly shredding through that 32-note stream again into the ending where the spacing does pick up a tiny bit. But now he is through the worst of things. He's gotten through the thick of things, and that is just going to be FC secured and breakpoint consolidated for Texas. And 97.74 accuracy for Boral. That is some incredible work, as it looks like Jexi and Laren. Jexi maybe needing to do some de-rusting from last year, and Laren, of course, playing from Japan in an internet cafe in the middle of the night, from what I have heard. Still doing better than anyone on the side of Colorado somehow. Yeah. That'll do for 87% 300k on that map. Guess I do need to... Oh, I forgot to change the stream title. Of course. Stream ping. Nope. That's not it. No schedule. Is that it? We're still scuffed. We're still scuffed as hell. But eventually we'll get everything fixed. Alright. There we go. And yeah, Kyushibu really wishing he had his tapping players with him today. It's going to be a quick no mod 4 pick for them, as... I mean, it does feel like Texas does have some pretty good players for that map as well, but no mod 4 was one of their better scores in qualifiers. Alongside the DT3, the high AR DT alts, unfortunately don't really have a pick like that. This week's DT4 being pretty flow aim focused, a little bit of snap aim patterns here and there, but it's really just a single 3-note pattern every now and then, not too much. And of course the AR maxing out at only 10 as opposed to anything above 10 for that map. But yeah, this does feel like a nice Cilliant, Kyushibu, and Lopez type of map. And we do see King CS2 in the lobby. Maybe just lobby sitting, but yeah, Texas. This is certainly Shy Cryo back in the thick of things. Does look like they are missing both No Head, also known as Trigun, and Thor. So their 4 for today going to be Shy Cryo, Boral, Laren, and Jexi to choose from. But yeah, this Texas team coming off of that loss to Virginia last round. But the Colorado team played in the round of 32, went to tiebreaker against their seed neighbor, 16th seed, of course, losing to 17th seed Ohio B in tiebreaker back then, and getting a bye in the losers round of 16. So not a lot of recent data for Texas to work with, but if they can sort of look at the scores, look at the movement across years on these teams, and sort of see who is new, who is old, who is playing what, and who to look out for, who the strong points are, who the weak points are on the other side. We are slowly loading in to the map. Thank you, Bancho. Thank you, American Internet. It's going to be some mech tech, and interestingly, no Kyoshipu. The alt skill is not translating to the tech skills, I suppose. So instead, it's going to be Cilliant and Lopez, accompanied by King CS2, their newbie spawn, who normally is more of a tapping player. Only playing Nomad 1 and Nomad 2 in their qualifiers, so it's going to be a new type of map for him to be playing in match here. We'll have to see how he does. It's going to be Jexy, however, the first to break at the start of the Ki. Of course, accompanied by Boro, the all-rounder, and Shy Cryo, their gimmick girl. And Boro will shortly follow up Jexy's break, so it's a good start for Colorado here. And King CS2 will find the first break for Colorado, but straight up by Shy Cryo. So this is a really good start for them. Cilliant will go down, and we'll have to take a look at the accuracies to make sure the score lead is properly going over in their favor. Looking at 92 on Lopez at the moment, as opposed to double 96 and 93, 92 on Jexy. So unfortunately, kind of down in the accuracy department still, but it is a 100,000 score lead thanks to Lopez's full combo going into the second half of the map. Hello, Lopez. A little bit frowning face from Lasagna Girl. Shy Cryo. Going into the next build-up, some big jumps and a cut stream into some more of the same mech tech. How much longer can Lopez hold? I think just a little bit longer and he'll have done enough, but there are some nice recoveries on the side of Texas. Can't let go of the gas pedal yet. And there goes Cilliant. It's going to be traded, and there's a full reset from Texas, and he has done enough for his team here. Gonna be closing out on the cut streams as well, hitting those. Zucchini on the last slider is where he's gonna find the slider break, but it's basically an FC. We might as well call it that. 91 AC, no misses, 700k. We'll give it to you. We'll give that one to you, Lopez. Colorado finding a point on the board. All right. It's a very nice first point for Colorado off the back of a Lopez FC on the Nomad 4 of all maps. And then we'll have to set a pick winner on blue pick 1. That was a Texas win. And now everything on our visuals is up to date. It's going to be Nomad 5 pick. I did not see Nomad 5 picked in the chat, but maybe Bancho's doing Bancho things again. my goodness, this is yeah, it's gonna be hard to tell where these teams want to pick. Just due to the nature of a 4v4 not having their full rosters. I think Colorado still wants to pick around Kyoshipu's alt scores, as there's a couple more alt adjacent maps in the pool. Maybe the mods not quite working out for them, especially Lopez on the hard rock with 85 AC on the Force Mod 1. Maybe the No Mod 3 would have been a better pick. But regardless, we are in for some more tapping, as that does seem to be the path that Texas wants to abuse after such a strong start on the DT2. Likely to see a No Mod 2 and a DT3 later on as well. Of course, all the tapping maps left up after a double reading ban from Colorado, the Easy 2 and the... Am I remembering that correctly? Am I remembering that correctly? Yes, Easy 1 and Hidden 2 ban for Colorado, and... Yep, I mean, you ban out reading and you still have to deal with tapping. We are into the No Mod 5 for now. Of course, same roster as before. No Lopez in for this one. It's going to be Silent Kyoshipu, and King CS2 up against Jexi, Laren, and Boral. The same rosters as the DT2. It was Kyoshipu who struggled a lot on the DT2 earlier. 78 accuracy. Silent as well with only 86 last time. Fortunately, this map will be a little bit easier. The BPM is higher, but the bursts are a lot shorter. The only burst longer than 9 notes to come in at the end of the map. Basically, past 1,000 combo out of 1,400 max. It's going to be Kyoshipu to find the first break on some aim, however, not a good start. Misaiming the burst as well. So, and that is also a bit of the issue with these higher BPM No Mod 5s, some comfortability on the BPM, and also making sure your cursor is nice and smooth as you try and flow through the burst. Of course, King CS2 to hold, as Texas has also managed to find some early breaks. Jexi and Laren both going down, so once again, it is just Boral holding on to the FC for them. Everyone holding on through this nice build-up section. Oh, but it's King CS2 to drop on the very last stream, misaiming the head of it. And that is really unfortunate, as although Laren does trade it, that was the big combo, the lone big combo on the side of Colorado. Just Kyoshipu and Silent on some actually very nice recoveries here. Both hanging around 600, but Boral, must I remind you, still on that FC, 96% accuracy. And that is the reason for this 200,000 score lead at the moment. Also, of course, Jexi on 97 with a little bit of recovery combo trailing behind that of Silent and Kyoshipu. And yeah, as long as they keep on holding, and Silly is missing, and there goes Kyoshipu as well on one of the bus sliders. And yeah, they did hold on for longer. It was much more of a fight than the DT2, but Texas, they do have hands, the fastest hands in the West. The quickest hands in the West. And those hands are what will carry them to another victory on the tapping. And this 500k ending scoreline certainly does not tell the whole story for that one, however. Laren, I think, having some fun with whatever keyboard he was given at the internet cafe over there. I do wonder if he did bring his own keyboard, because keyboard and mouse, because of course you can just plug in USB devices to the PCs over at the internet cafes over there. You can just bring your own peripherals. But yeah, still, he's playing at, what, like 3:30 in the morning, I think? He had to catch the last train from his hotel. Out to the internet cafe. Almost overslept his alarm. Brother had to wake him up. All the good stuff. Of course, Texas now securing the 2 tapping strain maps. I guess I would call those the 2 tapping strain maps. There's the DT3 more focused on high BPM comfort and finger control, and of course reading the rhythms and the patterns that come along with intense finger control. And for the No Mod 2, that is much more about the low aim than anything else. 192 BPM, the streams don't get too long. They're a little bit long, but of course, if you can mash through DT2 and No Mod 5, I think you can mash through the... more than comfortably mash through the No Mod 2, so... future tapping points probably not going to be as easy for Texas. Especially, we even saw in the No Mod 5 that ending score did not tell the full story. It was quite close on the combos through to the ending until Salient and Kyoshipu dropped their recoveries pretty late. It's going to be a hidden one for Colorado. So, going for a bit of a different angle, some hidden mechanics. Of course, this is AR9 as well, so a little bit of density, but really the BPM, 175. You're not going to be feeling the AR9 density much, if at all. Going back to qualifiers, where we did have a pretty similar map. Looking at a Boral FC, which is taking up half of Texas's score. They did have Trigun in the lobby for that, however, and he's not here today. Just going to be Shycrow, who did put up a solid 500k. But for the side of Colorado, it's Salient and Kyoshipu for around 500k each, and then Ititami, who they're missing today. So maybe King CS2 has picked up the hidden aim in the meantime. You know, we've seen spawns have some really crazy growth over very short periods of time. You know, they start playing tournaments for the first time, and they sort of just discover that they can play certain skill sets, and they sort of discover new abilities within themselves that they didn't think they had before. Maybe we'll see this from King CS2, discovering that he's able to play AR9 hidden mechanics. He did play the No Mod 1 in quals, so he should be pretty comfortable on just aim in general, especially low BPM aim. That one was a little bit tricky all the way up at 206. But we are in to the map here. It's going to be Salient and Kyoshipu. With King CS2 to round out, and then, of course, Jexy to accompany Shycrow and Boral. No Laren, not a hidden enjoyer, just a tapping specialist. Does not like the hidden modification. Colorado finally off to a little bit of an early lead thanks to the accuracy. It's going to be Salient to drop the combo right before the first Ki. And Jexy all the way down at 96 flat or so with double 98s and a make that triple 98s for Colorado. But there goes Kyoshipu on the end of the burst section, and there goes CS2! And it's just Boral to hold on with an SS into the awkward aim section at the end of this first Ki. Finally finding some accuracy drops, but he will hold on to the combo as the awkward angle, the sharp turn on the Quint at the end will catch him out. Catching out almost everyone in the lobby, actually. It's just Salient to hold, but there goes him as well in this slower verse. And we are now at another bit of an impasse. For once in this match, the accuracies are relatively equal, ever so slightly in the favor of Texas. But the combos also equal here. But there goes KCS2 in this little build-up section, misaiming one of those slider heads, traded out by Shykra, however. We go into the second Ki. It's all on Kyoshipu and Silient to hold for Colorado. There goes Silient, a little bit of a misaim. Trade out by Shykra again, but that's not the combo. You need to trade in. There goes Kyoshipu as well. So things have quickly taken a turn from bad to worse for Colorado. Managing to hold on in the earlier parts of this map, but as it goes on, just outclassed inch by inch as Jexy, the man to come in and fill, not even normally playing Hidden, but some of the pedigree from the Hidden players in the state transferring over to him, lending him their energy. He finally breaks, finding a big chain miss on that flow. Of course, Hidden flow, very understandable. Boral and Shykra to pick up the pieces behind him as Colorado continue to flounder in this big diff spike section of the map. King CS2 and Kyoshipu both, actually everyone, all three players, is a full squad wipe for Colorado. Now, I do say that, and Texas did also find some breaks in that section, but we are already into the ending with over 100,000 score in the favor of Texas, and there's just no combos on the board to do anything with. Much ado about nothing at this point. And nothing is what Colorado will be getting out of this pick, as Texas, they did keep it close for a while. Just a little bit more consistency throughout. A little bit bigger combos, hitting the hard parts where it counted. And Texas gonna pull away with another break point. Right, and with that break point, it is, of course, Texas's pick. Once again, looking to consolidate and put themselves on an early match point. Currently on a 2 breakpoint advantage as they look to consolidate. And yeah, I wonder what they're going to pick. Silient, Kyoshipu. What could your opponents be cooking up here? What on earth could it be? It was 50-50, and if you guessed DT3, you were correct. Going into the high BPM finger control. Jexy even putting a sorry in chat as they continue the tapping abuse. Unfortunately for Colorado, Texas picking up 2 breakpoints does mean that they can win this match entirely off of tapping picks. Even if they drop the next of Colorado's picks. There is one more tapping map left in this pool. Of course, Nomad 2 waiting after this DT3, but that does assume they do get through the DT3 with no problems. And we have seen Colorado put up some fairly good resistance in the earlier parts of these maps. We saw even on the Nomad 5 earlier, Silient and Kyoshipu holding some nice combos throughout, just not able to have the consistency to hold on to them for long enough. Just finding some small misses, some slider breaks, some tiny misaims. Just as they cusp that 5, 6, 700 combo mark and stopping them in their tracks from creating a really good score. And it really is those small margins that end up ballooning into the bigger advantages. Of course, we can't forget about the accuracy, which has been a consistent problem for Colorado. Finally, managing to equalize on that front on the hidden one. But especially with the high BPM of this map and the finger control elements. I do suspect the accuracy will be an issue again for them. As Texas have looked incredibly comfortable, of course. Boral on the 97% FC earlier on the DT2. That is some really incredible accuracy, especially for minor league, mind you. Now, of course, it is arguable if player from a second-place minor league team last year can really be called minor league. But, you know, Texas, seed 6 this year. Not as dominant as they have been in previous years. This is their second worst seeding ever, actually, in the history of 5USC for their B team. Starting off in 8th all the way back in 2022. That was their worst seeding. But they did end up getting 4th place that year. And of course, getting 2nd seed in 2023 and 1st seed in 2025. Their other worst seeding was number 5 in 2024 a couple years ago, where they actually found their worst placing yet, 7th to 8th, but that is a story for another time as we are into the map. Some 258 BPM bursts. Of course, it is just the same rosters. Once again, Kirshipu, Sillington. It's actually Lopez stepping in for King CS2. The BPM a little bit too fast for him, it would seem, and it's going to be Sillington to find an early break, followed up by Lopez, but Jexy also did find a break on the side of Texas, so it's just Laren and Shy Cryo holding on through this first section, matched by Kirshipu on 93%, but the two acts on the side of Texas, once again, the story of this match. Yes, you can break the combos, but if you're not breaking enough, then Colorado just doesn't have the accuracy to take advantage of their combo games. And once again, it's 93 for Kirshipu, 96 for Laren, 97 almost for Shy Cryo. As we go into this more awkward techie section, it's going to catch off an entire full squad wipe for Colorado once again. The only combo, semblance of combo remaining in the lobby at this point is Shy Cryo, but they have done, I think they have done more than enough. And yes, the score looks close at the bottom of your screen there. 200k on a tapping map, a DT tapping map nonetheless, is a lot closer than what you would think, especially with how close it's staying into the back half of this. But yeah, no, this is once again not the full story. You just take a look at those accuracies and that will tell you everything you will need to know. Shy Cryo up at 95.5 and not a single accuracy above 92. Kirshipu, the only one above 90 on his team. And accuracy, once again, telling the story a lot more compared to other skill sets when you are on tapping. And yeah, this results screen also tells you all that you need to know. Look at those letter grades, 5 Bs and a single A rank for Shy Cryo. Texas just on another level when it comes to the tapping skill sets, and despite the close scoreline, once again, taking another point, consolidating their earlier break point, and putting them on match point. All right. Well, we are on the DT4 Colorado. Did mention the alt picks as a potential point of advantage for them, as they are on the DT4. It is their pick, Dean T4. And yeah, going to be looking for a performance from Kirshipu. Unfortunately, this map is a little bit different from the past DT4 GT3/GT4s we've had in the pools. It's going to be Flow Aim. A bit difficult to call it Flow Alt, especially at this BPM, which is going to be 180. So a little bit higher than a normal alt BPM, and also the shapes of the patterns much more like streams. Of course, you do still have some back and forths here and there for snap patterns at 180 BPM. That's going to be pretty tricky, actually. The spacing is pretty big for 180, and it is a solid 3-note back and forth. So we could see the players get tripped up on there. That's looking to be quite the hazard for Colorado, but you're hoping, of course, Kyoshipu, your alt main, hoping for him to be quite comfortable on that one. If Bancho could help itself for one moment this morning. But Colorado, of course, is the losers bracket, facing elimination, and this is where they're going to be pining their hopes. Looking at Kyoshipu to put in some good work here. Already looking quite fine on the first big flow pattern here. Flow patterns, but so is the entirety of the side of Texas. Actually, there goes a double break from Jexy and Shy Crowd to start things off. So good start for Colorado. Silient, Kyoshipu, and Lopez all holding nicely. Of course, once again, going to be taking a look at that accuracy. Double 97s for Silent and Kyoshipu, but Lopez down at 91 flat as we go into the Shikiai section. However, we are seeing a lot of breaks from Texas, more so than we've seen in previous matches. It's going to be Jexy and Boral trading with Kyoshipu and Silent, however, so it's just Lopez on the low-ac FC, or low-ac recovery, up against that higher 97 ac recovery of Shotcrow, and that's already going to give Texas a little bit of an advantage here. Jexy going to be dropping his recovery towards the end of the Kiai, and Silient and Kyoshipu are holding on, so a little bit of relief, a little bit of respite for Colorado as the score does return to basically dead even here. And there goes Jexy again with all the combos for Colorado holding on. There goes Kyoshipu, but it's traded out by Boral. So once again, just one combo. And there goes Shy Crow as well. So it's a full reset for Texas. And I think Colorado have found a really good pick on this DT4. It's going to be Silent to drop, but Lopez is still holding on to the combo. Despite the low accuracy, this man is holding on where it matters. And the score lead is finally above 100k for the first time this match. This map, excuse me. And yes, Lopez is putting in that work. A B rank at 93 AC. He may be finding the hundreds and 50s, but there is no miss. There might be a miss in the very first notes of this map, but he is still holding on into the ending. 200,000 score is the advantage. He will finally break, but there's no combos on Texas. Kyoshipu into the ending. 300 combo, the biggest combo in the lobby, and I think Lopez has done enough. He struggled so much on the other maps with the accuracy, but finally in the DT4, where the BPM is a little bit more comfortable, and also the patterning more comfortable for him, perhaps, or comfortable enough. He's able to hold on to the combo in this one and bring a point home for his team. 600k. The biggest score in the lobby by a good margin. So Colorado, they've kept a lot of these points fairly close, with Texas pulling away at the end and really not going down without a fight yet. And Silient after that one, daring Texas to pick the Nomad 2. The GT4, pretty good scare tactic. flow aim, very reminiscent of the Nomad 2, actually. And it's going to be a timeout called for Texas as they contemplate their next pick. And hold on. Okay, so the ref was just a little bit confused there. So I will have to... It is not actually a Nomad 2 pick. I will have to go back to that red pick 4. Remove pick. Next pick is going to be for red team. And I will be just a couple minutes so I don't have an accident in my room. I'll be right back.
System. Higher performance and faster and more reliable communication
All right, we're back. And it looks like Texas have picked the Hidden 3 in the meantime as their choice of map to try and close things out here. We're sitting at match point 5-2. Thank you once again for bearing with me as we do have a very scuffed morning on our hands. Interesting pick on the Hidden 3. You know, winning out on the Force mod, however, and that was some more hidden... well, of course it was a Force mod, so Jexy was able to take his Hard Rock preference. But the other two players, Boral and Shy Cryo, doing pretty well for themselves over there on the hidden alt. It was, however, Cilliant to put up the best score in the lobby, only getting dragged down a bit by Lopez's 85 AC. A bit of a stinker score back there. And the only other point that Colorado was able to take this match, of course, other than the one just now, was the Nomad 4. Another mech tech map. Control heavy skill sets. We are getting into the hidden 3 now as Texas trying to nip this comeback in the bud. Of course, it's going to be Kyoshi and Cilliant in once again for Colorado, and Lopez a bit more veterancy and comfort on non-standard skill sets compared to the newbie King CS2. Maybe coming in as the third man. Of course, no OD10 on this one, so it should be a little bit easier to act, but still you have these players who are so comfortable on the hidden in Boral and Shy Crow. It's going to be Laren to fill out their third. Not exactly a hidden enjoyer either, however. So maybe a little bit of parity between the players there. And Shy Crow and Boral already struggling on the early parts of this map. Kyoshifu will break right before the break, but Cilliant still holding on to an FC, and that's a little bit of an advantage for Colorado at the moment. A little bit of a slower section as they look to build up some more combo into the next Ki. Approaching the halfway point of this map, so don't want to miss here. That will score cap you pretty badly. And there goes a double break from Shy Crow and Boral. Texas struggling on this hidden 3 pick of their own. Scared off of the Nomad 2 by a really good flowing performance from Colorado in the DT4. And the direction they have found, the direction they decided on for themselves after that timeout is not working out at the moment. Cilliant, look at this man go. 700, 800 combo, finally finding the slider break, but it's already 200, almost 200,000 score. And when the scores are this low for both of the teams, it's not even a million team score for either side. That is a lot of score difference. That is around a fourth of Texas's total score at the moment. I mean, the score is starting to go over back the way of Texas. Looking at the accuracies, of course, going to be checking Lopez down at 85% down in the dumps. Once again, and so Cilliant and Kyoshifu really have to hold on to their combos here. You can't let your foot off the pedal yet. Stay on the gas. Lopez needs to hold on to his combo as well. The score lead down around 100,000 at this point. But I think we are just close enough to the end. Combo density too low at this point. Lopez still struggling a bit with his combo, but Cilliant holding for about half of this entire map, a little bit more than this map, a little bit more than half the map, and that will be enough to lock away another point for Colorado, and that will be their first break point this match. Lopez saying he dropped double of what he said he would drop. I see you in the stream chat there, Lopez. I do check every now and then. And let me tell you, that double really counted. About a 100k score difference. Did end up being a little bit more at the end, 150k into the last few seconds of the map. So your score did count. Your score did matter. All of a sudden, just a single breakpoint deficit for Colorado. Needing to secure a point of their own and then another break point from Texas in order to take things to tiebreaker here. It does sound like a tall order, but a lot of these points so far have been very close throughout. We're gonna be going to the Hard Rock 1 as Colorado's last pick of this match. The score doesn't look so close. It's Texas up 5-3 at the moment. It is a lot closer than looks. might suggest just one break point away from tiebreaker. After being up 5-1, I believe it was. Colorado winning these last 2 points to start their comeback. And if Colorado do take this point, however, I do think we have to seriously get worried for Texas at this point. Might I remind you, Texas B team never finishing outside of the top 8, and lost here would put them in the bottom 16 teams of minor league as seed 6. Of course, finishing second in minor league last year as well. That would be a catastrophic fall from grace. Colorado never finishing inside the top 16. Going 0-2 the past couple years, and then all the way back in 2023, finding a single win for themselves before getting eliminated. Looking for their best placement yet, should this comeback come to be. They're going to be placing their bets on Kyoshipu, Cilliant, and Lopez. Lopez having struggled on the Hard Rock ult earlier today at the start of the match in the Force Mod 1. Me hopefully looking a little bit more comfortable when it's just some more simple rhythms on the aim mechanics. But of course, on the other side, that does mean you have to deal with Jexi, also accompanied by Boro, who is still on that SS for now. We'll see. We'll have to see how long that lasts, as Jexi's already broken his SS, and they're going to be breaking his combo, the first significant combo break of the map, as we are getting ready for that first Ki in just a minute. It's going to be Lopez to break right before the start of things. So Kyoshipu and Cilliant versus Boro and Jexi. Boro still on that SS. Keep your eyes on that man's screen. SS does drop, and there goes the combo! Right at the break! Boro, what are you doing? And it's another. This man just can't find the slider heads. He's out of sorts, and there goes Jexi as well. It's Cilliant and Kyoshi to hold, and this comeback is finally starting to take shape. The score is in the favor of Texas at the moment, but a little bit of a slow section. The combo's able to have some time to build, to pull things back in the favor of Colorado. Still, the accuracy's not in their favor. 94-92 on Cilliant and Kyoshipu as opposed to the 98-96 on Jexi and Boro. Section of this map is still fairly slow. Cilliant's cursor looking a little bit shaky at the moment, but there goes Boro and Laren dropping the recoveries once again. There goes Kyoshipu, and Cilliant is also dropped, but there's Lopez to pick up the pieces. It's still a 70k score. He doesn't have a lot of accuracy, but it's a lot better than what we've seen before. It's 93% for Lopez, and he's still holding on to the combo. Lopez, you have to hold. There goes Texas as well. It's all in shambles. There's nothing in this happening in this lobby. Nobody can hold combo at the moment. It's just Boro and Kyoshipu barely on even 200, and there goes Kyoshipu as well. It's 80k score for Colorado, but there's still so much more map to play. There goes. What are we doing? We're just missing on nothing, guys. Nobody can hold even a modicum of combo in this Hard Rock 1. It's just the accuracy that counts at this point. And there is a little bit of an accuracy lead for Texas at the moment. The score lead does go down from 80k to around 50k. Now another miss from Kyoshipu as that score continues to climb in the favor of Texas. But there goes some misses from Laren. We are approaching this last ending section. A big chain miss from Cilliant is really going to hurt their chances, however. And the score lead is just 30k. There's one big 222 BPM stream into the ending. It's about 16 notes. The accuracy drops could send this flying in either direction. We go into the last section of the map. The break right before does mean everyone knows what's going on. There's Silic dropping a lot of score there on the misses. It's Boral still holding a little bit of combo, 300 at the moment, the biggest combo, but it's not the biggest combo in the lobbies. Lopez has actually held on to 400, and the score is still 10k. There's another big chain misses. Everyone drops their combo except for Jexy, but there he goes too. It's what's gonna happen at the ending? Silic still holding on. The score is 10k. Can't call it a happen. Hold on, Silic, please. Colorado. 995. And that is just the closest map of the tournament. What on earth did we just witness? I have no words. I wish we had a camera for the caster booth, because right now I'm literally on my knees at my desk, head in hands. What on earth was that ending? Absolute cinema as Colorado managed to take their point, and it's all on Texas to show up with one last map, one last blue point to secure their win or give it all up into a tiebreaker. And what can be said about that last point other than absolute cinema? It's just already deciding on their last pick. It will be the DT1 called out by Shy Cryo in the lobby. High AR aim mechanics on the Hard Rock 1. And even higher AR aim mechanics on the DT1 to close things out. I think whatever happens here at the end of this match will certainly be a day to remember in 5USC history. 4v4 gentleman's agreement between Seed 16 and Seed 6. With the match on the line, the map coming down to 995 points. It was 40 points before the last slider end came in for those players. 40! Not even 40. You saw the number on your screen. It was 39. It was 38. And of course, the ending slider end, turning it into something bigger. 995. But of course, the last pick of this match, the DT1, a little bit lower on the spacing. The bursts a bit shorter as well. No 16-note bursts in this map. It's just some good old AR 10.3 mechanics consistency. Of course, with the DT1 higher AR does come the AR 10.3, a little bit more of a challenge than the AR 10 on the Hard Rock. You have to be a little bit more locked in than usual as we are getting into things. Kyoshi Fusilient and Lopez, it does sound like from the chat that this is their full roster, so a real chance for Colorado to make something happen here. But looking at the roster of Texas, it's going to be Jexy, Laren, and Boral Interestingly enough, no Shy Cryo. She did play the DT1 in tryouts, but maybe the high AR not quite for her. It's already a couple early breaks from Texas. Both Jexi and Laren dropping their FCs. Kyushipu and Lopez still holding on. It's just Cilliant to fall. And there goes Jexi and Laren again. Already a small advantage for Colorado. One more step until tiebreaker. It's just Boral to hold on with 98% accuracy. Once again, a story for this match that is held for so long. The accuracy is not in favor of Colorado for almost every single map we've played so far. The only map I can even think of that came close was the Hidden One. It's going to be Cilliant to drop his recovery, but that's not the recovery that matters. That's not the combo that matters. Kyushipu and Lopez holding on to their FCs to match and exceed Boral into this second Ki, the big burst. Just some accuracy drops. And there goes Boral! And that might just be the beginning of the end for Texas here. The smallest of miss aims. Kyushipu going to trade a little bit later, but it's already around 200k score lead for Texas. And Lopez, this man has held where it matters once already. He's held twice. He held in the DT4 for the highest score. He held in the Hard Rock 1 just now for another combo to keep them in the map. Here he is in the DT1, going to be dropping in the Ki in this little bridge section, but it's already 200,000 score in the favor of Colorado. The recoveries are there to pick up the pieces for him. Cilliant on 400 to match Jexi. It's going to be Laren, and there goes Jexi as well. And it's still going to Boral goes down, and Texas is in shambles. Colorado B team, seed 16. Cilliant with 500 combo into the ending. Lopez with a small recovery as well. It's 250k score for them. And that is break point number 2. We're going to tiebreaker, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on this morning? And we are in tiebreaker mode. And you send out a stream ping. Oh my god. Where even is it? I think I just slap a @ here, tiebreaker time on the C stream. Colorado taking some time for a timeout. Must I remind you, Colorado now on the precipice of their highest ever placement in 5USC yet. I want to also check for their major league team as well, how they have done historically. They have finished 9th through 12th in 2023, so not quite the highest finish for the entire state across both leagues, but definitely the highest finish for their B team on the horizon here. Of course, Well clear attack by Well Clear is our tiebreaker. This week. 6.58 stars. Length of 5 minutes and 2 seconds. 178 BPM. And your stats are air of 9.5, a CS of 4, an OD of 4, of 9, excuse me, and an HP of 5. Switching over to the gameplay scene here. This does look like Texas is already ready in the lobby. Jexy, Boral, and Shy Cryo. Who else? You could make a case for Lopez here with the heavy stream sections in the back half of the map. Just turn into a bit of a no mod 2, as first half is basically a no mod 1. Effectively a 2017 or so. 2017 to 2020, around that era of just anime consistency is what we're going to be looking at. And we do have rosters in the lobby. It's going to be Kyoshipu and Cilliant. Who else with these two? We've put in so much work. Unfortunately, Lopez going to have to take a seat in the backstage for this one, as combination of No Mod 1 and No Mod 2. Well, that just happens to be right up their rookies' alley. King CS2 coming in for the first time in a little bit. Of course, it was Lopez on the DT1, the Hardock 1, the Hidden 3, and the DT4, Colorado's entire run of these last 4 points, accompanying Kyoshipu and Cilliant, and going to be passing off the baton to the newbie to try and close things out in this tiebreaker. Colorado looking for their best finish ever in minor league, and Texas looking to avoid elimination in their worst performance, in what would be their worst ever showing of 5USC history. Both teams with a lot on the line in this tiebreaker. A lot of big milestones. Note, until now, the worst this Texas team has performed is 7th through 8th. The earliest they've ever gone out of this tournament is second round of semifinals. This would be an incredible fall from grace for Texas if they were to drop this. We are getting into that first KI section. All the combos holding on except for Boral. He did break in the low build-up section, but there is a delayed trade from Kyoshibu as well as King CS2 in the KI. The aim a little bit too space for him, but into the little bit of a stream section here. There are quite the amount of No Mod 2 elements, and there goes a full wipe from Colorado. It's going to be traded out by Jexy, but Shy Cryo, the veteran of Texas B, the captain now for her second year in a row, going to be leading her troops forward in this one, as they do come off to a bit of a 50k lead at the end of this KI. Once again, we enter the verse, and the tension builds. Jexy, the first to blink. But Shy Cryo still holding on to the... Yes, I say that! Breaking in the build-up section. It's going to be traded out by Kyoshipu, but now there's a 2 recovery advantage to 1. King CS2 and Cilliant against Boral into the second KI section. This one a little bit more calm than the first, as the ending of it doesn't have as many big streams, but then you do have to go into that solo section. Really want to hold on for both King CS2 and Cilliant. Okay, there are a couple streams here. There's the space one. It's going to be Shy Cryo to break. Not so happy about the tapping elements in this map. The Shy Cryo. And King CS2 and Cilliant at the break see the combos, see the job in front of them, but they also see about 100,000 score difference in favor of Texas at the moment. And here we go into the solo section. And of course, the back half, what awaits us at the end. of this. Out of the frying pan and into the fire, we would call. But still, we are in that frying pan. And Kings gets 2 and Boral trade. It's just Cilliant now. Kyoshiku going to be dropping his recovery, and Jexy has built up one of his own. The accuracies, once again, telling the story this entire match, and even still in the tiebreaker. Cilliant down at 94, almost 95, and Jexy at 98. It's more combos being dropped. That support is not there for Cilliant, especially with those big chain misses coming out from King Sisu and Kyoshiku. There goes Boral, however, as well. Cilliant needs to hold on. 1,000 combo, 1,100 and counting, and he has held through the guitar solo, but so has Jexy. And now it's around almost 200,000 score for Texas. Jexy still needs to hold on. He's not safe yet. Cilliant is right on his heels. Chasing with the on the slow section. And now Cilliant has a chance of a lifetime. This is his opportunity to make 5USC history for Colorado and for Texas. Boral dropping on the slow section, but there was Cilliant as well, dropping on the big stream. It's just Kingsley showing a little bit of a tiny recovery, but it's 100,000 score. I don't think he could do it. The score is just too big. And there he goes as well, misaiming the stream. And as it's all said and done, Texas is just too much to handle. Colorado in their Rocky Mountains, forced to retreat back there once again. As Texas hold the South. Texas hold as the higher seed, seed number 6. They will not go down so early in 5USC. This is Texas B team. And they will maintain their run in the lower bracket here in 5USC 2026. But my God, was that a close call. Colorado, so many close points this match. Even the tapping points, which they lost so many of early on. The DT2, maybe a little bit less so, but the Nomad 5, oh so close throughout, just not able to hold onto the combos for long enough. Similar story with the DT3. Of course, the accuracy as well. So unfortunate dropping the hidden one, their own pick in the early stages of the match. Able to make a really impressive 4-map run into the ending to bring us to tiebreaker in the first place. Mind you, they were down 5-1 at one point. And unfortunately, the winner's source is not loading. There we go. Commiserations for Colorado as they once again still do repeat their highest ever finish, 17th through 24th. Of course, it was a bye last round, Oregon forfeiting, and they do end their run here without a win yet again. Texas, of course, congratulations to them for moving on. Congratulations to Shy Cry, also known as Lasagna Girly, Jexy, Trigun, also known as No Head, Boral, Laren, and Thor on their victory here today. Narrowly escaping defeat and a tragedy for their state. The Lone Star shines on in the night sky as they march forward to the quarterfinals. Losers bracket second round. That is going to be all for me, however. Bless KM. Thank you so much for putting up with all the technical difficulties we had today, of course. Lots of issues. Even trying to find the streamers. Of course, if we had that 4th match, which was supposed to be Michigan A versus Ohio A, I think we might have broken our streak. But thankfully, Jameson waking up just in time to take care of that other match, which happened earlier. And now covering the A stream for me, the 19 UTC match of Florida B versus Virginia B. That is going on at the moment. And we will send you guys over there for the raid. (5USC26). So go ahead and get ready to enjoy that one. But for now, that has been all from me. I've been Blessed KM. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me this morning. And I'll see you guys next time.